Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your live SmackDown show and also Superstars, which I did not find any of the Superstars that was taped from Tuesday night's episode. I do apologize on that. But first, as usual, some WWE news. WWE Hall of Famer Barry Windham turned 52 years old, July the 4th. He was born in 1960. Windham has been inducted into the Hall of Fame earlier this year as part of the Four Horsemen. He appeared to be in good health despite a serious medical scare that occurred back in October of 2011. Sid Vicious' birthday was also today. His real name, Sid Udi. He turned 52. He was born July 4th, 1960 as well. Vicious appeared as Psycho Sid on last week's Monday Night Raw and called his appearance the greatest moment of his entire life. The WWE NXT star Bray Wyatt, formerly known as Husky Harris, confirmed on Twitter that he was injured at last week's FCW live event. The former Nexus member says he suffered a torn pectoral muscle, and he wrote on Twitter, "What does a torn pectoral muscle mean to me? I will not waste my time with injuries of the flesh. When my brain continues to captivate the attention of the masses." You can look up the hashtag The Ashes Our New Home. As for NXT, I won't be missing a second. Unquote. Dustin Goldust Rhodes will return to the ring to face Wardell Walker at NWA Ring Warriors event on July 14th in Hollywood, California. Dustin posted the following video on YouTube responding to Walker, and you can find that on YouTube. I was going to write it down. I can give you the link. youtube.com/watch the letter V equals XXUR capital P, capital D, capital X, little Y, big Z, little W, little G. And at first, after the equal sign is a big X. Okay, WWE announced the cancellation of next week's SmackDown tapings, scheduled for July the 10th at the World Arena in Colorado Springs, Colorado. The event was canceled due to the Waldo Canyon fire. Refunds for the show are available at the point of purchase. And thanks to Devin Cutting of the Pro Wrestling Events.tk for that info. The company will now tape SmackDown after Raw on Monday night at the Pepsi Center in Denver, Colorado. WWE will also announce that they have also announced that they are donating $10,000, which is the price of the rental of every building in the United States, to rent out the entire venue to the American Red Cross to help the families affected by the wildfires. The dark main event after Raw's Super Show in Laredo, Texas, saw John Cena defeat Big Show and Tensai. Cena hit Big Show for the attitude adjustment after Show laid out Tensai on accident. And then John Laurinaitis came out after the match with a chair and hit Cena with it. He goes for a second one, and Cena blocked the second shot and then hit the attitude adjustment on Laurinaitis to end the show. WWE Hall of Famer Roddy Piper stated on Twitter that this week he has not been contacted to appear on the 1000th Raw episode for later this month. On a related note, Tatanka revealed that WWE has contacted him earlier in June to appear on the 1000th Raw, but he's waiting to receive further confirmation. Independent wrestler, formerly WCW wrestler as well, Johnny Swinger, aka real name Joseph Dorgan, turned 40 years old. He was born July 3rd, 1975. The following are the results of Friday's Slam at the Zoo event that took place in Kalamazoo, Michigan at the Speedway. Josh Raymond and Christian Abel beat the Thoroughbreds. Movado beat June Hado. Sebastian Rose beat the Great Acoma to win the CIW Championship. Kevin Thorne, formerly of WWE, ECW, and Legion with Paul Bearer, defeated Monsters of Mayhem and Alcatraz 187. And that was those results thanks to Darren Persick from .net. That's ProWrestling.net. The following matches are listed for the 11 p.m. Central airing of the AWA ESPN Classic. The Trooper versus Carlson. The Destruction Crew versus Tony Leon and Anderson. Sergeant Slaughter versus probably Special Delivery Jones. Russian Brute versus Bennett. Magnificent Mimi and Colonel De Beers versus Candy Devine and Baron Von Raschke. And for those that don't remember him, he also used the Iron Claw as his finishing move. And the dark main event for tonight, actually Tuesday night, live SmackDown show was John Cena versus Big Show and Laurinaitis in a handicap match. Plus Triple H is advertised. He typically appears in dark segments at the SmackDown tapings. No, I'm pretty, this is an educated guess that tonight he probably won't be used. And since it's a live show. And some news from Aftermath Radio that's available on iTunes. Viscera, formerly known as King Mabel, he spoke as if he's ever slated to win the WWE Championship at SummerSlam 95. He said, actually, Vince was leaning towards me to win the WWE title, but if anyone knows about the Clique, they can change things around just as soon as an eye blinks. And that's what happened. The finish was changed. Yeah, Vince was really leaning towards me, but you can't stop the powers that be. And he spoke about how Viscera was created. He was working with Hurricane Helms in Europe, and Dean Malenko was the road agent. I used to do amateur wrestling float over on him, and Dean just jokingly said, why don't you throw in a couple of pelvic thrusts when you do that? And I said, are you serious? So I gave it a try, and people just exploded. Other topics included that he claimed that he is likely for a future Raw or for the Raw 1000th episode. And he spoke about his entry into WWE and how he originally thought Man on a Mission was a rib. How Oscar got introduced into the team and becoming King Mabel, and where he ranks at King reign versus others. And Extreme Rising results from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at the National Guard Armory. Report by .net, ProWrestling.net reader Gene Novak. And he wrote the preface. We're just hours away from the third Extreme Rising. Heck, I knew about the first one. Not too good of a show. And their second event at the National Guard Armory in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania 2 months ago. I went to this brand's first show and it left a bad taste in my mouth. The show suffered from various audio problems, booking issues, and long delays. A lot of the fans chanted for refunds and heckled Shane Douglas mercilessly. I wrote a report for this website in which I stated I wouldn't be attending their next event. However, since that Shane Douglas has done some very good damage control and has assured that the fans the issues that plagued the last show would be rectified this time around, I decided to give it another chance. I truly believe that the business is stagnant and in dire need of change, and that change won't come from WWE or TNA. I've listened to Shane Douglas in interviews, and tend to agree with him far more often than not. So I'm hoping he'll prove a lot of the critics wrong. After the show, though, there were a lot of questions I have going into tonight. 2 months ago, EW drew in over 2,000 people with over 500 turned away. How many of those fans will show up tonight? Will the technical issues be rectified? Will all of the talent show? Will Shane put on a hell of a show? Will Matt Hardy see a ghost and flee the ring during his match tonight? All these questions will be answered for you in just a short few minutes. In any case, I expect the show to be phenomenally better than the show 2 months ago. From what I've read in the show in New York was pretty good. However, I'm curious how the show is going to go and how Shane will be treated with the crowd that came to the Extreme Reunion. Well, he arrived at the National Guard Armory in Philadelphia around 6:15. First thing he noticed was that the crowd was still decent, but not nearly big as much as the last time. He considered it disappointing, but he forgot that anyone who purchased tickets up to a week ago was given the option to attend the free question and answer with Shane, Sabu, and Saturn. So these were the last minute buyers. Unfortunately, I bought my tickets late this time around and missed the deadline. First thing I noticed was a lack of any Extreme Reunion shirts and a decent amount of younger children in the crowd. One kid was wearing a Cena shirt, but surprisingly some ECW shirts were in the mix. In any case, I decided to talk to some of the fans and see what their thoughts were of tonight's event and Extreme Reunion. The first thing I noticed was that the fans in front of me and the last time around, the fans that were turned away last time, one guy who stood out was a bald guy with a CZW shirt on who seemed angry while doing it, and he was furiously turning red. Once inside, he noticed that there some changes to the armory. The first thing was that one side of the bleachers where the camera was located was folded up. So the armory side was cut down quite a bit from last time. The LCD TV that was mounted above the entrance was also missing. Merchandise tables were set, and the usual players were there. In any case, he started to talk to a few more fans in front of him who were at the last show, and at one point they said that they thought the Shane Scorpio match from last time sucked while they were here. But later on, they watched it, and it was pretty good. I remember being at the event and thought it was good. Well, people were being so jaded at this point. Shane couldn't turn them. Another fan I talked to while getting in line for some water was also at the last show. We were discussing the event. We both thought it was weak, but we wanted this show to succeed. His view was anybody but WWE. Mine was anybody but TNA. Two people brought together by blind hate for companies. The one fan from outside wearing the CZW t-shirt was trying to get another ECW chant going. The guy he was talking to, the reporter was talking to, said that he's been trying to get going since before I got there, and people have complained to him about wearing the CCW shirt. CZW. The show started around 7:20 or so. Performance by Eat the Turnbuckle, some death metal band in lucha gear. They freaking sucked. I thought I heard them say that they were going to play for free for the next hour. Holy crap! I thought Shane was going to turn this crowd early. While playing their awful music, they proceeded to beat each other around, including one band member using a fork on another member. At one point, one of the band members jumped off the van through a table. During this segment, fans chanted, "You suck balls," "You suck D," and "You effed up." One fan yelled, "Shane, don't bring them back." Eventually, the segment ended about around 15 to 20 minutes. One fan asked me if it was as bad as the Raven Sandman debacle from last time, and he compared it to the armbar fest that was Al Snow versus C.W. Anderson. Well, finally the ECW music kicked in and people were pumped. Ring announcer came out, Bob Artiste, I think. Started the show. Last time around, people booed him a bit, but not this time around. He announced a guy from CZW. I couldn't catch the name. I don't watch CZW. The fans hate this guy, though. The last time around, he tried promoting the show this time and couldn't get that far. People rode him hard, and he just ended up arguing with some guys in the crowd. Joel Gertner came out next. The stud muffin of ECW. Gertner looked pretty good and was wearing a trademark neck brace, bow tie. He did his stick and left the ring. Match number 1, Perry Saturn defeated the Greek God. I don't know who this guy is. The Greek God came out doing a vaguely homoerotic type of heel gimmick. Fans chanted F you, to which the Greek God made the ring announcer announce that he wasn't gay. Funny stuff. Saturn came out and was super over with the crowd. He was wearing street clothes and looked pretty good. Saturn passed by the reporter section and a little kid tripped or got bumped by someone, but Saturn picked him up real quick. Saturn acted goofy as hell, diving over the rail into the crowd as such. People were really happy to see him, and he got some chants. The crowd started chanting, we want Moppy, and Saturn's gonna kill you. Very similar to TNA's Joe's gonna kill you. Well, Saturn stalled quite a bit, playing to the crowd. Match wasn't much until Raven's overly muscular flock member from the last show came out to help the Greek God attack Perry. Pitbull won, then came out and helped out Saturn. Saturn hit a sweep on the Greek God and pinned him with a roll-up. Short but sweet, despite ECW fans ripping into Douglas last show for working at a Target. And just incredible for working at Olive Garden. Nobody ripped on Saturn before for being homeless for 2 years. I don't know if it's just taboo to them or that people were just happy to see Saturn turn his life around. Match number 2, the FBI defeated Los Dramaticus. Possible candidate for the match of the night. The FBI is usually used in comedy segments, but they can bring their game when given the chance. These two teams worked very well together and had a quite holy shit moments, I should say. The FBI eventually won when one Guido tripped the Dramatico member, causing a Marmaluke to get a quick pin. The Dramaticos were over with the crowd and are a really nice addition to Extreme Rising. One thing I noticed during the match, it was constant throughout the show, was Shane Douglas was standing off the side near the arena, watching everything and taking notes. He was cheering, dancing occasionally, and gauging with feedback from the fans. I feel this was a great way for him to run the show. So far, the flow of the show has been much better than the last time. The show has been good, and the downtime has been minimal. Match number 3, Balls Mahoney defeated C.W. Anderson. As soon as the reporter saw C.W., he yelled at no more arm bars, to which a fan next to me said, that's not possible. Mahoney came out with Blue Meanie of all people. Fans chanted blue balls. Funny. Spot where people were singing along to Balls song. The ball to the wall. And at one point it got cut off. People booed and it was resumed. Meanie has gray and blue hair. During the match, C.W. Anderson was at one point out of the ring with Balls and Meanie doing punches with fans, switching between blue and balls. Blue, ball, blue, ball. CW got the advantage, and then Sandman's music hit. Sandman hit the ring quick and canned CW, who left the ring. Sandman celebrated to Balls' music. Some fans were called in to have a beer, including a wet t-shirt spot. Enter Sandman played. For personally, I feel this is the best way to use them. So far, Shane has done a good job of protecting the originals, who can't go much, and using them the best way possible. Notice a fan holding up a sign to a porn site in our direction. I can't understand the point. We weren't in the direction of the camera, and there wasn't a ton of people there. I saw Stevie peeking out of the behind the curtains during this segment. Shane came to the ring during an in-ring promo. He appeared to have dropped some weight. During his entrance, I saw a very young kid wearing a Triple Threat shirt hold up the sign of the Triple Threat. Shane cut a promo, and I couldn't make it out that well. Mostly ripping on WWE, TNA, Hogan, and Flair. Fans were pretty receptive to him, and no one booed him. Plenty of thank you Shane chants, which was nice. A nice change from the F you chants at the last show. Shane talked about the history of Lucha Libre and ECW and introduced Bestia 666 versus Pesadilla, which was your luchador match of the night. Well, Bestia 666 defeated Pesadilla in a best of 3 falls match. There were some barbed wire chairs and a table added. This was possibly the best match of the night. These guys put a hell of a match with lots of holy shit moments. At one point, I believe Pesadilla did a flip suplex from the apron to the outside of the ring through a table. In the end, Bestia 666 beat Pesadilla with a senton through the table on the outside. Chance of this is wrestling during the match. Both guys got a standing ovation. After the match, we went to break. During the break, I saw Shane signing autographs over a table with a decent turnout. Match number 5. Stevie Richards defeated Luke Hawx. This was a classic wrestling match with a couple of nice spots. In the end, Luke came off the top rope with a chair, and Stevie caught him with Stevie kick for the pin. Luke Hawx attacked Stevie from behind with hit a blockbuster on him. Hawx chewed out Douglas on the microphone before leaving. Match number 6, Sabu defeated Devon Storm. Sabu got a lot of love from the crowd, but both men put on a good match. Sabu has his hair back. Lots of spots with Sabu, eventually putting Devon Storm away with an Arabian face buster. Both men got cheered, shook hands, and hugged. Devon Storm then attacked Sabu from behind. And this proceeded with chants of "You suck dick," to which Devon Storm assimilated doing so. Match number 7, the Gangsters defeated Blackout, BLK out. New Jack came out throwing weapons into the ring all over the place. Some landed by the crowd. New Jack and Mustafa massacred Blackout. Pure squash match, and the music stayed on the whole time. The Gangsters worked well together, and it doesn't expose either one since they're both older now. Blackout was pretty good. Strange to see them beaten so decisively. Mustafa hit a power slam, and New Jack hit his chair elbow off the top rope. After the match, New Jack cut a promo, talked about the new ECW. The match and the promo went over well with the crowd. For the final match of the night, Reby Sky was introduced to the crowd as the new Queen of Extreme. She was booed heavily. She tried talking, but during the entire time, people were drowning her out with "show your tits." She was definitely hot, but too much diva for an ECW crowd. She introduced the next match was Matt Hardy versus Homicide versus Jerry Lynn. I don't understand why she announced the next match, considering she was Hardy's valet and also his fiance, girlfriend, whatever. She introduced the new effing show, and then I saw her look down at the cards to see Jerry Lynn's name before she announced him. Hardy came out, the old Hardy boy to the old Hardy's music. Well, Homicide defeated Jerry Lynn and Matt Hardy with Reby Sky in a 3-way match. The match was good and some nice spots. Hardy doesn't look bad in this promotion and might have some staying power. Homicide is also another very nice addition to the roster. During one point in the match, Sky tried covering Matt, to prevent homicide that wouldn't hit him with a chair, to which almost everyone in the building cheered hit her anyways. Only in ECW. Homicide set her up for the cop killer, Gringo killer, and was stopped by Jerry Lynn before he could hit. In the end, Homicide managed to hit the twist of fate diamond cutter on Hardy while he was attending to Reeby and pinned him. A good match. People started to leave. Unfortunately for them, the segment wasn't over. Jerry Lynn and Hardy attacked Homicide and got him on a table outside the ring, and Reeby Sky jumped off the top rope and put Homicide through the table. People started chanting, she's hardcore. Sky and Hardy celebrated in the ring while people left. On the way out, Blue Meanie was in the lobby signing autographs. I shook his hand and asked him if he was going to parody anyone new. He said he'd like to. I can see Meanie Cena getting over with the crowd. I'd also love to see the reaction if Cena's music played over the speaker. Meanie gave me his card to follow him on Twitter. Nice guy. Heck, I'm following him on Twitter. After this, the reporter left the armory. Unlike the last time, he enjoyed the show and planned to attend the next one if he's able to. Shane did a lot of things right this time, and I think he'll eventually be a player if he keeps it up. Shane took the best elements of ECW and mixed it with a new breed who would fit well into the old ECW during its peak years. The originals were not overexposed and were used to their strengths well. The pacing of the show felt much better than the last show as well, with the exceptions of the awful bad everything. Here was an improvement, and this is the show that I wish they presented 2 months ago. Unfortunately, the crowd was smaller this time around, but I'm hoping people catch the show to give these guys another chance. Shane made more progress in the second show, in his second show, than I've seen in TNA made in years. Okay, I'm doing pretty good on time here. And now for your dark match prior to SmackDown tapings. The live show. Dean Ambrose defeated Michael McGillicuddy. And this was from Monday night's event. Ambrose defeated Michael McGillicuddy. Superstars was taped. Antonio Cesaro with Oksana defeated Alex Riley. Match number 2, Zack Ryder, defeated Jack Swagger. And now for SmackDown, Great American Bash Special, live from Corpus Christi, Texas, in which they also, WWE has announced that it will return to Corpus Christi January 17th, I believe, for next year. Well, they started the show with a backstage party involving most of the SmackDown lower card. Teddy Long eventually walked up and welcomed everyone to the Great American Bash on Super SmackDown Live. He said, don't worry about making a mess because he has someone who volunteered to clean it up. The camera then panned to Eve in a dress that covered her from head to toe. Teddy then invited Santino Marella to light the grill to get the celebration going. Well, he was afraid to. He acted like he was afraid to. I didn't even see you heard it click, but you didn't see a flame from it. So I guess they forgot to fill it with fuel. Well, since he failed to light it with a lighter, well, Kane walked up and did his normal arm raise like he does in the ring. But as you see, a big spark, and boom, the grill started up. But pretty cool to start off the show. The grill got it blazing, and SmackDown's intro then airs. The announced team hyped the 20-man Battle Royal for the main event, and also said that the winner of the match will be your SmackDown General Manager for next week. And then it followed up to the AJ storyline with Michael Cole exclusive interview. In the ring, Lillian introduced Ricardo Rodriguez, who in turn introduced Alberto Del Rio. A recap video aired of Monday night's beatdown of Sin Cara by Del Rio. Alberto said he wasn't there to celebrate America. He was there to talk about something more important, namely Alberto Del Rio. He then said he's going to send Sheamus back to Ireland crying like a little girl. Del Rio then said that he realizes why crowds like Sheamus so much, and that's because he's a hooligan, just like him. A moment later, Del Rio said the people had no reason to hate him because he came to the U.S. legally. He then said he was going to send the crowd back to where they belong. And then I was thinking, well, that reminds me of the song from John Denver, Back to Where We Belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, Take Me Home Country Roads. He then proceeded to ask several crowd members in the front row to show him their papers. He accused several of them being illegal aliens. Then he comes up to one crowd member and resisted and said, "This isn't Arizona. This is Texas." At that point, Sheamus' music hit, and Sheamus and Del Rio began to brawl up the ramp. Sheamus threw Del Rio off the ramp towards his car, and then into a barricade twice. Ricardo interfered briefly, which allowed Del Rio to hit a kick to Sheamus' head. Ricardo opened the hood of the classic Rolls Royce and closed it over Sheamus' head several times, and to give him a concussion. Supposedly he may be injured. Del Rio murmured something to Sheamus and made a hard hand motion to signify the belt around his waist as they go to commercial break. Well, a good heat build up for the segment for Del Rio, but I hope this one time use of asking people for their papers a bit. I guess it plays well on the Mexican border to get cheap heat, but it comes across a little over the top of TV. I'm glad that they are trying new things with Del Rio, but this one doesn't do it for me. Well, Sheamus was shown dazed with blood on his forehead. He had a little cut right at his eyebrow. And then he was carried to the back by trainers and officials. Layla and the Great Khali made their entrance. Layla had her perma smile as usual. Khali looked like his spine is mounting a revolt every time he heads to the ring. Oksana and Antonio Cesaro then made their entrance. So you got match number 1, mixed tag. Oksana and Antonio Cesaro versus Layla and Great Khali. Khali started the match and hit a big slap on Cesaro in the corner and went for a big boot, but missed. Then Cesaro hit a chop block. Khali serves back with another slap to the chest. Cesaro tagged Oksana, and Layla quickly made her entrance and went on offense. She hits a slap and a springboard splash. Cesaro pulled her off before the ref could count 3, and Khali quickly chased him off. Layla did her finisher and pinned Oksana a moment later. Great Khali and Layla defeated Antonio Cesaro and Oksana in a minute and 52 seconds. That to me was just about a waste of time and sneezing. Take more time sneezing to make it look good than the wrestling match itself. Other than Layla. Okay, well, making it worthwhile of a match. Teddy Long walked out of a trainer's room and into Cody Rhodes. Cody said the board of directors granted him another Money in the Bank qualifying match. They said, yeah, he heard. And that he had chosen an opponent for him. And said it's one he has yet to beat, which is none other than Christian. Well, that match was horrible. Cesaro loses steam, and nobody gives a crap about anybody else in that match. Layla has been on a treadmill as a character since returning, and I'm not sure anybody ever really was into Khali or Oksana. There really wasn't much redeeming about that segment. Cody facing Christian would be a good match, but we've seen this too many times recently. Cody worked a hammer lock until Christian fell to his feet. Cody picked him up and dropped him with his arm still tied behind his back. Cody hit a suplex and then placed Christian on top rope. Christian fought him off and hit a missile drop kick that woke up the crowd. Christian then pumped up and hit some punches and then kicked Rhodes onto the second rope. He then jumped outside and slapped him and followed up with a crossbody off the top rope for a near fall. Cody went for an Alabama slam, but Christian reversed it into a pinning predicament for a 2 count. Christian then charged at Rhodes and hit the post. Rhodes rolled him up for another close near fall. Christian hit an inverted DDT for a 2 count of his own. Christian then went for a spear, but Cody kicked him. Rhodes then went for his beautiful disaster kick, but Christian ducked. Then Christian went for the kill switch, but Cody slipped down and hit Crossroads for the win. That match took 9 minutes 5 seconds. So Cody advances in the Money in the Bank qualifier. Backstage party. Teddy entertains the roster while Zack Ryder walked up and wanted to play his playlist. Heath Slater introduces himself and sang until people threw things at him. Ryder then played Somebody Call My Mama, and you get the Funkasaurus and the Funkettes coming as the ladies are walking up and danced into a commercial break. Solid effort from Rhodes and Christian. Christian doesn't lose anything in the loss, and Rhodes picks up the steam heading into the pay-per-view. Looks like the World Heavyweight Championship Money in the Bank match has all the tools to be great. I hope they live up to what it looks like on paper. The party segment was awful, just like you'd expect. A-Rye was in the ring for a surprise Money in the Bank qualifier. Miss Piggy Guerrero, they came out and introduced Dolph Ziggler, who wins the match and gets put in the Money in the Bank qualifier. Basically a squash match in about 2 minutes 27 seconds. Alex hit a drop kick right as the bell rang and got a near fall. Ziggler fired back with a DDT and hit some stomps. He then did a show off elbow locked in a chin lock, complete with a headstand. Riley powered up to his feet and hit the back suplex, followed by 2 clotheslines and a spine buster. He covered for a near fall. Riley went for an impaler DDT, but missed. Ziggler charged right at Riley in the corner, but hits the ring post. Riley rolled him up for a near fall. Ziggler rolled to the apron and hung Riley on the ropes. And it hits a finisher right afterwards for the win. Okay, and then the announcer team plugs Michael Cole's interview for up next as they go to commercial break. Surprising amount of offense for Riley in the match, and I'm not complaining. It's great to see A-Rye back. And come on, people, you watch my videos? Let's say it to their faces. We want Riley back on SmackDown and Raw. Well, Ziggler is a perfect heel to take abuse and still seeks out wins. And I hope the formula continues. Well, Coleslaw asked for the crowd's attention in the ring. He says his guest was the most controversial figure in the WWE. Then he welcomes AJ to the ring. Coleslaw says he's interviewed AJ more than once. He's always been fair and balanced. And he's actually playing up to her, trying to get in her pants and what have you. And then he says that she's been anything but balanced lately. She started to speak, but he interrupted her. Then he said she'd have to answer for what she did last night on Monday Night Raw, and then introduced clips from Monday's Raw. She smiled after the clip. Then Coleslaw asked her what the hell she was thinking of. Cole said the answer was that she wasn't thinking. He accused her of switching allegiances on a dime and said that the board made a huge mistake when they made her a special guest referee for the WWE title match. He then questioned what she sees in Bryan and Punk, and then asked if she would ever considered a real man. He hit her in the most perverted way humanly possible. He opened the suit and told her that she could have all this. Well, Daniel Bryan's music hits, and he's not happy about that one bit. Bryan said Coleslaw is no investigative journalist. He's a sexist, emotionally stunned loser. He's just like the media that invents things and puts words in people's mouth. He then buttered up AJ and told her that he knows that she's taking her job seriously as a guest referee. He then said he realized that she only wanted Punk to go through the table, and he said he forgave her for not seeing him in the line of fire. Punk's music hit, and then he's headed to the ring. Punk shouted out at Michael Cole to get out of the ring, and he eventually did. He said his body feels like a wreck. He said he's prepared for it because he signed up to be a wrestler. He said he's not going to suck up. He then said he's going to be blunt and honest. He told her that she's in a bad place mentally, and he accepted that he could have said something sooner, which he didn't. He said she's a sweet girl and deserves better. Well, Bryan piped up and said Punk is trying to do an end around and act like he actually cared about AJ. He then accused Punk of trying to butter AJ up and said that he's only doing it because he knows that he needs AJ to beat him. Well, that kind of pissed Punk off. Well, AJ then turned around and separated the two and walked up and kissed Bryan in the ring. Punk looked dejected and headed out of the ring, unhappy. AJ turned around and ran to the ringside and kissed Punk. Well, about halfway through the kiss, Punk was actually open mouth kissing her back. Well, Bryan looked exasperated, and Punk and Bryan were left with looks of confusion on their faces. AJ finished off the kiss and skipped to the back. She stopped on the top of the ramp and did a yes chant. Yes, more orgasms, more orgasms, more orgasms. Oh, so we got another segment. The Coleslaw stuff was ridiculous and was downright creepy. But once Bryan and Punk got involved, it got pretty good. WWE is doing a great job of keeping this one as confusing as possible. And I think it has worked to a great effect. AJ is great in this role. And Punk and Bryan have really been the glue that has held the whole thing together. You can fix a whole lot of lazy booking by sending both of them out there to be awesome. Well, Hunico, Drew McIntyre, and Camacho were at ringside, ready for their match, six-man match. Santino then entered and announced his partner, Sergeant Slaughter and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. As this is a great American bash. So you got Team USA versus Team Mexico and Drew McIntyre. Well, McIntyre, Camacho, and Hunico versus Duggan, Slaughter, and Santino. Camacho worked over Santino for about half a moment, and then tagged in Hunico, who hit a springboard somersault senton from the outside. He then tagged in McIntyre, who hits a clothesline for a 2 count. McIntyre worked some power offense with some strikes. McIntyre went for a slam, but Santino slid out and tagged Duggan. Well, McIntyre tagged in Hunico seconds later. Duggan hits a clothesline on Hunico and made a cover, but Camacho broke up the fall. Duggan hit another clothesline and tagged in Santino. He then hits a cobra and made the pinfall. So basically, Sergeant Slaughter didn't even get much in the match. Well, Team Santino, Team USA defeated Team Mexico and Drew McIntyre in 2 minutes 4 seconds. Backstage segment, back with the party continuing as R-Truth and Teddy were bickering about something. R-Truth was saying something about little Jimmy, and Teddy was doing his little dance. Damien Sandow unplugged the music Well, this was a botch of the night. Because later during that segment, you can see the unplugged extension cord when the music was replayed at the end of the segment. Well, back to Damien Sandow unplugging the music, and he insulted the crew. Ryder stood up for everyone, and then Sandow was started off with punching Ryder. Ryder punched back, and then he went to he got pushed to near the table, and he grabbed the punch bowl to throw on Sandow, who ducked, and the punch landed on Eve's giant dress. And she screamed and ran off. Through all the segments, she was still standing in the same position the whole entire time. She wasn't cleaning up nothing. So there's another botch. Well, I'm glad to see Sandow and Ryder continuing to get attention, even if it was in the crappy party segments. The tag team match was 2 more minutes of a flabby old man than you can ever want to see. Heck, if you want flabby men, well, throw me in the ring. I'm a little bit flabby, but I'm working on that. Kurt Hawkins lost a coin toss backstage between he and Tyler Rex, which I didn't see on the show, and has to face Ryback. Well, Ryback then made his entrance. Okay, so that wasn't even shown. It was just that Tyler Rex was made that statement, and since their tag team, well, Tyler gets probably next week's match. So you got Ryback getting his first singles match versus Kurt Hawkins. Well, this is an even-sized match. Hawkins is a pretty big man, and so is Ryback. Well, Hawkins ducked a punch and hit Ryback twice to no effect. He then tried to lock in a sleeper, but got hit with a backpack stunner. Ryback hit a clothesline a moment later, followed by a clothesline and his muscle buster for the win. Muscle buster? Well, I guess it could be called a muscle buster. Well, so they took about 1 minute and 10 seconds match. Well, that was the same match as before, just with Kurt Hawkins. Ryback, can Ryback talk or sell? I guess we'll have to see if his character can handle that transition. Well, then the announcers said Sheamus will not be able to compete in the Battle Royal main event. They plugged the Battle Royal as the main event. They went to the commercial, and after the commercial, announcers then plugged the 3rd hour of Raw, and a sci-fi paranormal show that premieres after SmackDown. Teddy Long made his way out and has kissed the GM apron. Teddy thanked the board and thanked the fans for the blast he had this week as acting GM. He said it was time to find out who would be the GM of next week's SmackDown, and the ring entrances began. Well, you got Swagger doing his push-ups, Cena, Kane, Del Rio made the entrance. Commercial break. Well, I think Del Rio was the first one out anyways. Well, they come back and they got Tensai, Punk, Big Show were the last entrance. So your 7th match of the Great American Bash episode and the Battle Royal. Well, chaos was ensuing, and as we started, we got everyone paired off. Show eliminated Justin Gabriel first, and then Ezekiel was eliminated. But this report says Brodus Clay was eliminated. Then Ezekiel got eliminated. But the camera didn't catch it. Tensai and Swagger dumped Khali over. Yes, the camera did catch Ezekiel getting eliminated, because I saw that myself. And Khali was eliminated. Well, Tensai and Swagger got dumped. Well, they took like six guys to dump Khali over and eliminate him with 1 minute 45 seconds into the match. Ryder eliminated Sandow a moment later, and Santino followed soon after. Cody Rhodes hit Big Show with a beautiful disaster kick. Then he tried for a second, but Show grabbed him and tossed him out, along with Kofi Kingston. And they go to commercial break. Quite a few people were eliminated during the break, but don't ask me who. Punk and Bryan eliminated each other almost immediately. They did their little pushover, and both of them go over at the same time. Kane chokeslammed Cena, and then Big Show grabbed his throat, and they struggled for a moment, but Kane got the better of it and chokeslammed Big Show. Del Rio, Ziggler, and Tensai teamed up on Cena, who pumped up and dropped all of them with punches and slams. He then sent Del Rio over the top rope and then chokeslammed Kane. Tensai finally stopped him with a kick and tried to eliminate him, but Cena powered back and dumped Tensai out of the ring. Show then snuck up on Cena and eliminated him. And Cena looked back and said, "You got me this time." Ryder tried to go after Show, but ate a spear. Show then dumped Christian over after he caught him coming off the top rope. Ziggler applied a sleeper on Big Show, and then Kane used a big boot to send both of them over. Zack Ryder got the win because of, when Kane used the boot, he turns around and goes after Zack. Well, Zack countered a move and got in the middle of the ring. Well, Ryder got to the side of the ropes, and as Kane was going to give him a big boot again, well, or clothesline or whatever. Well, Zack Ryder ducks and pulls the ropes, and out Kane goes. And so Zack Ryder is your SmackDown GM for next week. Quite a surprise victory after what was a fairly mediocre battle royal, despite all the talents involved. Overall, pretty mediocre SmackDown that would have been exponentially worse without AJ, Bryan, and Punk segment in the middle of it. And that ended SmackDown. And WWE's website posted a video of what happened after last night's Super SmackDown in Corpus Christi. John Cena came out, congratulated Zack Ryder on winning the Great American Bash Battle Royal. The two celebrated at the end of the show. And it's unknown what exactly happened with the dark match with the John Cena versus Big Show versus probably Tensai and also what's his face? Laurinaitis. Oh yeah, that's his name. Well, that ends my show for this week. Stay tuned for tomorrow night's. I'll have to catch the results because I have to work at my part-time job, Kohl's, tomorrow night. So I will catch it as soon as I get home, which is probably about midnight. So stay tuned for then, and see y'all. Y'all can see me later. Peace out. God bless. Sayonara.